All right, we are going to get started. Sorry, didn't mean to. Yeah. So we're gonna do a little quick introduction. For those who don't know, I'm Jason. I'm gonna be your instructor for the next 4 weeks, and you guys are gonna be my victims. All right, these are my friends, Diana and Christina. They are gonna be helping me teach you guys. So if I'm tied up or if I'm working with somebody and you have any questions or you need some help, or after class, if you have any questions and I'm busy, these two young ladies would love to help you, okay? So, are you guys nervous? Are you excited? Are you anxious? Are you wondering, man, is my dog gonna embarrass the heck out of me? Am I gonna embarrass myself? Because all of it's gonna be true. So a lot of people come to my class and they want their dog to be perfect. They want their dog to be well behaved when they come to class. You know what I want your dogs to be? Relaxed. And I want you guys to be relaxed. I want you guys to have enjoyable experience. I want you guys to also learn. With that said, what if I told you that your dogs are not here to learn? That you are here to learn. In fact, your dogs are already well trained. Do you know that? This puppy here knows everything already. Seriously, ask yourself this. Does a dog know how to put its butt down without being asked? Does the dog sleep at night by laying down? Dog knows how to lay down, right? Dog training is about simple communication. That's really what it comes down to, simple communication. We teach muscle memory, coincide with verbiage that we use in order to teach the dog what we would like them to do, but your dogs know how to do everything already. Our job is to communicate that. What usually happens is we gobble that all up. We garble it all up, not gobble it, sorry. We garble it all up where it doesn't really make sense to the dog, and then the dog gets confused. In other words, if you say, "Come on dog, get inside the house." Did I just tell my dog to come, or did I just tell my dog 5 different verbiages he has no idea? And that's usually what happens. And then we get frustrated. Why isn't the dog doing what I want them to do? I told him to get in the house. Well, the fact of life is your dog doesn't speak English like you and I do. In fact, right now I'm talking, all your dog hears is blah, 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 blah. Our job is to try to make sense of that blah, blah to the dog so the dog understands, oh, this is what you want me to do. Puppyhood is frustrating. If you have a puppy or a young dog, puppyhood is frustrating because the dogs constantly, their brains are going. They want to get into things. They want to grab things. I have a puppy in the car that he loves shoes. He loves to steal things. He loves my socks, right? And sometimes it's really frustrating. Like, oh, why do you have the sock? But the dog doesn't look at values like you and I do. If the dog goes into a woman's closet and picks out a $1,000 pair of shoes, it doesn't taste any better than the Walmart $10 pair of shoes, right? But what happens is we react because it's a higher value. So what you're gonna learn all through the class is simple thinking, simple reasoning. A lot of this is really easy. I'm gonna share things with you and you're gonna be like, why didn't I think of that? And I don't expect you to think about it, or I don't expect you to know it. That's why you guys are here, okay? So I have a couple ground rules we're gonna lay. I have a no sniffing policy that goes for your dogs also. A lot of times, it's okay, you can laugh at my jokes. A lot of times people come to my class and they say, Jason, I wanna socialize my dog. Well, right now your dogs are socializing. You don't need to let your dogs play with other dogs and socialize. In fact, I'm really anti let my dog play with everybody's dog. In fact, I really don't like the dog park. I'm kind of an anti-dog park person. There's a couple different reasons. I won't go into that, but if that's something you guys want to talk about, just ask. The dog that's next to you that your dog is sniffing, you don't know, maybe that dog's here because it has some issues with other dogs. So if you come in and say, oh, I want to let my dog say hi to this dog, and that dog gets in a scuffle with your dog, it kind of sets you guys both back. So when you guys come and go the next 4 weeks, please make sure you guys have a good distance from each other, be safe with your dogs, and try to keep your dogs from sniffing. If you need to use the restroom, I think I told some of you guys, but right behind my buddy here with the headphones, there is a door right there. The restroom's right back there. If you think your dog is going to need to go out or needs to go out, please by all means take your dog out. There's a little grassy area right between these 2 parking lots. Feel free to take your dog there. If your dog has an accident, don't worry about it. Don't be embarrassed. We all may stare at you, but it's okay. There are some paper towels in the restroom in there and a bottle of Windex. Windex solves everything, so just grab that and don't worry about it. Okay, what am I missing? Let's talk about equipment. First, did everybody get an email from me? Okay, let me phrase this. Did anybody not get an email from me? A confirmation email? Okay, we're good on that. So, do what again? Okay, so the type of equipment used is not required. There are a couple things that are going to help you. You're not required to have a bait bag, but a bait bag definitely is a big benefit. A lot of time people say, well, why can't I just put food in my pocket? Well, a lot of times if you put food in your pocket, it takes us probably about 20 seconds to get out. Science has told us that in order to mark a behavior, in order to reward a dog for a behavior, in other words, if my dog sits or my dog downs, I have 2.3 seconds in order to reward for that behavior for the dog to coincide what the dog did. So if the food's in your pocket and you reach in your pocket and then you reward the dog, sometimes it takes too long and the dog's not going to coincide. So it decreases our learning curve. We want to increase the learning curve. We want your dog to learn as quick as we can, okay? Plus, if you're like me and if you use hot dogs, which we'll talk about in a minute, and you leave them in your pocket and you go to wash your clothes, it's really nasty. Trust me, you don't want to do that, okay? Let's talk about equipment. So I'm not a big harness fan. If you do have a harness, please don't take what I'm going to say as I'm chastising you or poking fun at you, but I'm not really a big harness fan. The reason being is the harness doesn't give us a whole lot of control. You guys ever been around horses? Okay, so how do we control a 2,000-pound animal? Okay, we put a halter goes around the head. Wherever the nose goes, basically the horse has to go. I grew up on a pig farm, and we had these tongs that they had these little ball bearings at the end of it looked like pliers, but they go inside the pig's nose, and wherever the nose had to go, basically the pig had to follow. So the collar or the harness takes away from that concept. The point of contact is on right behind the shoulders, kind of like this dog, and so it gives the dog all the leverage. If we have a collar, we can keep it up behind the ears. The more we keep it up behind the ears, the more we can control the head, and the more control we have. If you feel that you have difficulty walking your dog, or you have difficulty controlling your dog, I would suggest, Diane, can you grab one of those prong collars, please? Okay, can you stand for a minute? So I would suggest one of these collars. Now a lot of people look at these collars and say, there's no way I'd ever put this on my dog. This is an instrument of pain. In fact, this is actually nicer on the dog's neck than a flat collar or even a choker. Actually, probably a majority of collars. And here's the reason. For those who are a little bit older like me, do you guys ever remember the trick that magician used to do where they used to lay on the bed of nails? You guys ever seen that trick? Okay. Do you guys know how the trick is done? Okay, for those who have never seen the trick, they'll have a magician lay on see this mirror here. They'll take the piece of wood that size and they'll put like 10,000 nails in it. And the magician will lay on the bed of nails and then they'll crush a brick of ice across his chest. And everybody goes, wow, look, he did it. But he does the trick by surface area. So if we were to take away half the nails and evenly distribute them out, there's no way he could do the trick, because now there's less surface area. So this collar basically works on the same principle. Instead of having one point of contact like a flat collar or a lot of collars that when the dog pulls, there's only one point of contact underneath the dog's neck, this works on the principle when the dog pulls, it evenly distributes the weight. And it actually makes it uncomfortable on the dog. A lot of people ask, well, does it hurt the dog? It doesn't necessarily. It causes discomfort. Unless you yank on it, it's not gonna hurt the dog. In some ways, we call it power steering. It makes a huge difference. In fact, this dog here, these are friends of mine, they have one, and I can imagine without that collar, the dog would probably drag them down the street. I personally use one on my dog every time I take the dog in public, and so it basically just gives me some more control. So if you guys have never used one and after class you'd like to use one, I have some up here you can borrow, you can kind of check out. We can kind of talk about it some more. If you don't have, thank you, Diana. If you don't have difficulty walking your dog and your dog's fine, then by all means don't worry about it. But if you find that your dog's pulling you a lot, yes, training is why you're here, and yes, that's one of the things that we want to work on. However, it gives you a tool while you're working on that to have a little more control, okay? Most of you guys have, I think, the correct kind of leashes. I'm not a big flexi leash fan. I don't like flexi leashes for training. And long as your leash is not, less than 3 feet, I think you guys are fine. If you guys need any water, your dog thinks he needs some water, I have bowls around here and there's water in there. Feel free just to say, hey, can I get my dog a drink of water? You're welcome to bring water if you like, but it's not really a requirement. So let's talk about food. If you notice from my email, beta is one of the probably the biggest things I really tried to highlight. A lot of people say, well, Jason, why can't I just praise my dog? Why can't I just say, good boy? Well, ask yourself this. If your boss came to you tomorrow and said, hey, I can only pay you $2 an hour, would you quit your job? Me too. I would probably say, no way, I want to go find another job. So the first thing we're going to work on is engagement, and higher value, the better engagement. So a lot of people say, well, why can't I just use my dog's regular kibble? So kibble, depending on certain dogs, can work, but you got to imagine, right now you're kind of in a hectic environment. You're in an environment basically be like kind of bringing a child to Disneyland and asking them to do a math test. If we brought a child to Disneyland and asked them to sit down and do a math test, most likely they wouldn't do it, right? But if we took the child and said, okay, I'm going to give you $20 for every single problem you do, now what happens to the child's brain? Now the child's brain is saying, wait a minute, okay, I'll do a couple problems because I want to earn that money. Food is much the same way. So if you come here and we give your dog kibble and your dog's like, yeah, that's not that high a value, but hey, the dog next to me, hey, he's a way more higher value, then what happens to our training? So the question comes up a lot of times, will I always have to use food? Or why do we use food, okay? Why do we use food? One, I think we talked about already, we talked about engagement, but two, it's to shape and to mark behaviors. So if my dog sits, I want to reward the dog more than just a pet. So the type of food we use, as I said before, makes a big difference. Yes, on the value, but also how quick the dog can do the behavior again. So if I want my dog to, let's say, learn sit, I want to do as many sits as I can in a very short amount of time. So if I do 10 sits in a 2-minute time frame, my dog is going to learn that quicker than if I do 10 sits in a 10-minute time frame. He's not going to coincide why I got the reward. So if I can do repetitiveness quicker, my dog's going to learn the behavior. So if I ask my dog to sit and I give my dog this big crunchy bone and it sits there for 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 20 seconds chewing at that bone, now what happened to my learning curve, right? But if I give my dog a piece of hot dog or cheese and the dog with one chew or just a gulp gets it down and says, hey, I want to do that again, now what happened to my learning curve? So a lot of people say, well, I don't want to give my dogs human food. I don't consider hot dogs human food, okay? I used to eat them when I was younger. They're nasty now, unless they're like the $10 ones that you buy. Okay. If you give your dogs hot dogs, your dogs are not going to start begging for food, okay? Or begging for your human food. They're not going to coincide. They're going to just say, hey, I like that. I want to beg for it because I like it. It's a higher value, but they're not going to say, hey, I'm going to start begging for all human food. In fact, if I don't give my dog a piece of steak for 6 years and then one day my dog gets a piece of steak, my dog's not going to say, wait a minute, that's what I've been missing for the last 6 years. My dog's going to say, hey, I enjoyed that. Sure, I want another piece, okay? If you find that you just don't really want to touch the hot dogs, that's perfectly fine. After tonight, it'll tell you if you need to change your if your food is high enough value, or if what you're using is fine. If you do want to use hot dogs and you don't want to touch them because they're a little slimy, sometimes you can bake them for about 20 minutes on about 350, put them on a pan, bake them. They turn into like little chips. They're not so much greasy, but the insides are still kind of soft, and they're still a little bit malleable inside. But just kind of think outside the box a little bit if you don't want to use hot dogs or cheese. Find something malleable, high value. One thing I do suggest, I think I put this in my email, we'll talk about it a little bit, is not to feed your dogs on training days. So actually, most of the dogs right now are kind of good. I've had classes in the past that have had a couple loud, little rambunctious dogs, which I kind of expect, which is fine. This is why you guys are here, why your dogs are here. But they seem to be like a little bit not wanting to focus on mom and dad. So if your dog comes here and they're hungry and they're more interested in the food, you're going to get more out of your dog. If your dog just ate a big meal before it came here, most likely if it's like me, after a big meal, it wants to go watch a football game and sleep, okay? Your dog is kind of much the same way. Okay, let's see, what else have I not covered? Okay, right behind this young lady here, there is a board And the board covers everything that we're going to cover in the next 4 weeks. So my classes used to be 6 weeks long, but I found that after a couple weeks, my class numbers kind of dwindle a little bit. And it's not necessarily that I'm not good at what I do. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I'm pretty well known for what I do. It's that a lot of people have unfair expectations. Dog training is not easy. Now, it's easy once you get the tools, but it takes a long time. I kind of compare dog training as like the gym. I used to go to the gym years ago, and I used to know the owner of the gym, and he told me one time a statistic. He said he makes most of his living in January. Most people sign up for the gym January, okay? First week of January, everybody runs to the gym because we have these good aspirations. We're gonna do it, right? And then come February, it like drops in half, and then come March, like nobody comes, okay? So the reason being is a lot of people think they're gonna get instant gratification. Yes, there's gonna be certain times your dog just picks things up really quick, but it doesn't mean your dog has solidified that. Your dog has completely learned it. Dog training takes weeks, months, sometimes years to really get your dog where you're at. So if you're thinking after 4 weeks that you're gonna leave this class and your dog's gonna be trained, I can guarantee you it's not gonna happen. However, I'm gonna give you the tools hopefully to carry through for the next 6 months. In fact, I know it's kind of weird, I don't actually care that your dogs don't do really good here, okay? I care that you do good. I care that you glean the information and you're able to regurgitate that to yourself and to people around you, okay? So our goal is to cover 8 to 10 new behaviors. I don't expect your dogs to learn all 8 to 10 new behaviors in 4 weeks of time, okay? So that brings up another point. If you have anybody at home, a spouse, family, kids, anybody else that's involved in the dog, it's really, really, really crucial that you pass on the same information that you learned tonight to them. Dog training is about simple mathematics. 2 + 2 always equals 4. Say it again. 2 + 2 in dog training always equals 4. So a good example is this. Let's say this young couple here is working on down with their dog, and their dog is doing really good, and their parents come over and they walk in and the dog jumps up on them and they tell the dog to down, and the dog doesn't down. They keep telling the dog to down and it doesn't lay down. Well, they want the dog to stay off of them, but they've been teaching the dog that down means lay down, right? And now the parents push the dog off, or they do whatever they're gonna do. Well, is that fair to the dog? It's kind of like having a child and you send the child to school one week and they learn 2 + 2 is 4, but then the next week they learn it's a different answer. Would the child ever learn what 2 + 2 is? Probably not, because the answer was never consistent. Does that make sense? So if anybody's at home with you or anybody's involved with the dog, it's really imperative that you teach them exactly what you're doing. If they're not willing to do what you're doing, many times I've had spouses come in and say, oh, there's no way my husband or no way my wife is gonna do that. Usually what I tell them is tell them not to tell the dog to do anything. They need to stay out of it, okay? Because the dog can't think outside the box like you and I can. The dog only learns on repetitiveness and simplistic behaviors that we teach them. Okay, does that make sense so far? Okay. Another question I get a lot of times is the verbiage we use. Okay, it does not matter what words you use. It matters the consistency. I had a client years ago that taught her dogs in colors. Red meant come, blue meant down, green meant sit. The verbiage doesn't matter. I teach my dogs in German. I don't speak German. Nobody else really knows that. So the verbiage really does not matter. It's the consistency that does matter. What I would encourage you guys to do is go home and write all your verbiage on the refrigerator. That way you can hold yourself accountable and you can hold anybody else accountable. That way you are being consistent and fair to the dog. Okay? The next thing is I love questions. I love questions. Questions do a couple things. One, it tells me that you guys really want to be here. You're not thinking, hey, I just paid $175 and I'm going to walk out and my dog's going to be trained because I went to a class. I want you guys to say, hey, you know, that doesn't make sense. After 25, 30 years of doing this, I always have to remind myself that you guys are like in the infant stage. This is all really new to you guys, I think, unless any of you guys have experience, but this is all really new to you guys. And so a lot of times I forget that you guys are still, you know, kind of green. And so if you guys say, hey, you know, I don't quite doesn't quite make sense, that tells me, one, that you really want to be here, and two, that tells me that you really want to glean and you really want to get success, okay? So at any time, if I'm talking about something or if you have a question, it's not rude at all. I really encourage you guys to ask questions, okay? If there's something that really doesn't obtain to class or you want to talk to me privately, after class, just stay in your seat. I'll come around, we can have a little chit chat, okay? All right, so first things that's on our board tonight is we're going to talk about engagement. It's actually not on there. I didn't realize it. Okay, we're going to talk about engagement. So engagement's probably one of the most important things that we can work on with your dog. Any idea what engagement, how engagement refers to dog training? Any idea what comes to mind?
Giving your attention.
Attention, okay. Anything else? Say that a little louder.
Eye contact.
Eye contact, okay. Anything else comes to mind? So those two answers were not incorrect, but they're not quite what I'm looking for. Through engagement, those two items will come stronger and be more solidified. Engagement is a mind frame. I don't walk up to my dog and say necessarily engage. I do have a key word that tells the dog that we're going to train now, but engagement is a prelude to all training. Ask yourself this: if this young couple here, if their dog was staring at this little poodle over here, just like intensely staring at that poodle and said, "Oh, I want to play with you," and they asked the dog to sit, what's the chance of the dog sitting? Probably zero, right? They can even answer the question. It's probably 0 to none. Why?
You're not engaged in us.
You're not engaged in you, right? The brain is engaged in that dog over there. So training is simple. It is simple to teach your dog to sit down. After tonight, you guys are going to be like, why didn't I think about this? Engagement is really where the foundation of dog training begins. So we learned this in school. If we go to class and the teacher says eyes forward, why does the teacher say eyes forward? Because she wants to make sure that our brain is engaged with the lesson, engaged with her. If we're busy staring out the window, most likely we're not listening to what they're saying, okay? So don't confuse eye contact and necessarily attention, which is something that we're going to work on. That's a muscle memory that we're going to teach. Engagement is a mind frame, okay? So throughout the class, I use my friends here to help me do some role playing. The reason why I do role playing is a couple different reasons. One, I'm very particular when it comes to my own dog. If I was to bring my dog in here, I ignore everybody. The reason being is I really want to advocate for my dog, and I want to be really make sure I'm consistent with my dog. So if I'm helping you guys, I can't really be consistent with my dog, because if I put my dog in a sit her down and I'm paying attention over here and my dog gets up, I just put my dog in a failing situation. So I use my friend Christina here. She's going to help us understand a little bit of engagement, okay? Yes, by all means.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that I am not sick. I'm wearing this because I'm having some oral surgeries, and so it's more about protecting me than...
Yeah, that's not why I'm in a wheelchair, okay? Okay, so I'm going to be Christina's dog. We're going to give you a little example here. I'm going to give Christina's dog, and I'm kind of checking out this dog over here.
Jason!
Hey, Mom, how you doing?
Jason!
Hey, how you doing over there?
Jason!
Okay, she's getting really frustrated, right? We can tell in her voice, right? So instead, she's going to come over. She's going to show me she has some food.
Jason!
Hey, what do you got? Hey, what do you got, Mom? Okay, and she's gonna start feeding me. Boom, boom, boom. She can even walk backwards, feed me a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, now she's gonna stop feeding me. She's gonna reload. Hey, come on. Where's the food at? Okay, we go back into engagement. Okay. Now you're probably thinking, wait a minute. I just paid this guy $175 to teach me to feed my dog. It's not necessarily about just standing to feed a dog. Do you notice she talked to me a little bit? Her voice activated. She moved around a little bit. Now she's a little bit more enticing than just standing there and feeding me, right? Now my brain's open. Now I'm like, hey, man, I like this. This is a game. So engagement is a game. It's a prelude to any obedience, okay? So once Christina can come out, and I just stand right here, like, oh, Mom, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Now I'm ready for learning, right? Now I'm ready for shaping. However, if I'm over here looking at this dog,
Jason!
I'm not gonna be listening to her. Does that make sense? So stay here for a minute. So a couple things that's gonna help you when you do engagement. A lot of people say, man, my dog really likes to eat, but he bites my fingers, okay? there's two things you can do. One thing you can do is actually teach your dog how to take food easily. But there's a balance that we have to kind of not initiate, there's a balance that we have to implicate when we teach our dog to take food gently. We don't want to ever punish the dog for wanting the food. My Facebook and my YouTube page. The reason being is that way you guys can go back and reflect and also learn the lesson. There's a lot of information. I don't expect you guys to take it all home. So it's my way, instead of handing you a paper, you guys can go back and watch it, okay? I forgot to tell you that. Okay, so I need a demo dog. Anybody want to do a demo dog for me? I'm gonna use you guys. Yep, come on out. So these guys are gonna give us a quick demo, and then I'm gonna have everybody do it, okay? Watch your dog there. Thank you. Okay, what you got for bait? Hot dogs, all right. Okay, pull out a handful of hot dogs. Now, where's the dog engaged right now? The other dog, right? He's like, hey, check you out. I want to go play with you. One thing that's going to help, hey, when you guys go sit back down, take probably a link out of your collar, maybe even 2 links. So these collars aren't meant to slip over the head. Is that how you got it on them? Yeah. Okay. In a minute, these young ladies will show you how to do it. Okay. All right. So his dog's engaged with the other dog right now, right? Okay. Let's find out something. Put a piece of food right in front of his nose. What do you got there? Oh, now feed him that one. Good job. Okay. Can I pick on your husband for a minute? Okay. Because I know you cut up the food, but he's working with the dog. So don't worry about it right now. Those chunks are too big. Can you show them your food sizes? So these chunks are too big for 2 different reasons. One, his dog is going to balloon up really quick if you feed him that big of food. 2, it took about 4 or 5 chews for the dog to get through it. I want the dog to chew once or twice and say, I want to do that again, okay? So next time, or if your treats are kind of big, cut them up in about dime size or nickel size pieces, okay? So do me a favor, give him a little more leash. I want you to walk back away from him, make a little noise. In the moment, okay, and feed him. Try to feed. Good, walk back now, feed again. Walk backwards. Good, feed him another one. Good job, good. Good, feed him another one. Good job, feed him another one. Okay, I'm gonna pick on Dad for me. He's doing really good, right? But he's just feeding the dog hot dog. He's kind of boring, right? Okay, I want you to make this a game. I want you to move back a little bit. I want you to talk to the dog. I want you to say, kitty, I don't care what you say. Ah, there you go. Yeah. Okay, keep it kind of low so it doesn't jump. There you go, feed. Good, feed another one. Good, feed another one. Good job. Good. Okay, now where's the dog engaged? Yeah, right? He's not even looking at another dog, right? Good. Now, if Dad was going to ask him to do something, what's the chance of him doing it? Like that, right? Good job. Okay, so we see what engagement does now, right? He doesn't even care about that dog. He could probably even get, I mean, he's not going to, but he could probably even get close to that dog over there, and he probably wouldn't even know he's near the dog, okay? All right, good. Go back. Let's cut your food up too, okay? All right, so I'm going to have you guys do that. Oh, wait, I got to tell you one other thing. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. You sit back down, please. So, in dog training, everything has a beginning and an end. Say it again. Everything has a beginning and an end. So, if we ask the dog to do something, there has to be an end to it. So if I ask my dog to sit, there has to be a release from that sit, or a transition from the sit that we're not done training. It's almost like taking a verbal leash off your dog. And we call it the free command or the release command. Whatever word you want to use, that's perfectly fine, okay? So it's not going to be so much for engagement, but the release is going to be really important. And here's kind of how it looks. Okay, so Christina, I'm engaged with Christina. Boom, that's good. Okay, now she asked me to sit.
Sit.
Okay, she feeds me for the sit.
Sit.
Good. Now that she wants to go back into engagement. So now she'll say free.
Free.
And she'll go back into a little engagement. Boom, 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 boom.
Sit.
And then she'll ask me to sit. She feeds, and then she'll go back into a little engagement. So everything ends on a free, unless you're going to ask your dog to come, sit, down. But then when training's all over, there's a free at the end, okay? So your dogs really don't know free. There's 2 ways you can teach it. One, you can take a piece of food and just kind of toss it to your left or right. and say free at the same time, the dog will go get it, kind of sniff the ground, then the dog learns it's free. Either that, or kind of what Christina did. She jumped back, said free, she went back to a little engagement, and now the dog kind of understands that transition, okay? So just for today, in a minute what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have everybody stand up. You're gonna do a little engaging with your dog, and then when you run out of food in your hand, I wanna say free, just reload, okay? Do a little more engaging, free, reload. So I'm gonna have you guys do 3 little sets, and then sit back down, okay? And we'll come around and help you. So go ahead and stand up when you're ready. I have a drink of that, please. Not sure about eating. Try.
He's a little nervous.
I can understand. Why don't you try to get down to him, sit on the floor.
Okay.
Let's try that. There you go. There you go. And just, aha, that made a big difference. So I would start with just a little sitting, okay? Or not you sitting, not the dog.
Yeah.
And then stand up and see if we eat. Good job, nice. Oh, training's gonna be super easy for you. Training's gonna be super easy for you. Good job. Likes to eat.
Yes.
Yes, love.
When did I say free? That's what I didn't understand.
So let's say you have 4 or 5 treats in your hand. When you go to reload, say free.
Okay. How does that relate to?
You're just telling the dog, okay, we'll talk about, I'll tell you what, I'll define it a little bit more in a minute for everybody.
Okay, so in the meantime.
Not just feed, oh, good job, feed.
Okay.
There you go, feed again. There you go. There you go, good job. So when you run out of food in your hand, just say free for right now, okay? So when you run out of food, free, and then reload.
Free.
There you go, there you go. Now the dog says, okay, now we can kind of check out. Mom's reloading. Now if she wanted to look away or she wanted to kind of sniff again, it's okay. We're almost giving the dog permission to check out.
So at this point when he's looking at me, does that mean he's engaged?
But he's choosing to be engaged. You're not necessarily initiating. So after the free, it doesn't matter what the dog does. It's kind of like, let's say you're gonna go home and you're gonna take the leash off the dog and you're gonna get on the phone, right? Are you engaged with the dog anymore?
I have to admit that I'm auditorily disabled.
It's okay.
So
It's okay. I don't mind. Don't worry about it. I don't mind explaining things a couple
sometimes
times.
it takes me a while. I was a teacher of disabilities, and that's just happens to be my disability.
It's perfectly fine. I woke up this morning and can't walk. It was a shock to me too.
Okay, so at the point in which he's looking at me, like when I stopped, I said free, he
Uh-huh.
looked at me, is that the point where he's ready to get a command?
We'll talk about that in a minute. You're a little bit ahead, okay? But I can tell you training's gonna be super easy. After class, let's talk about feeding a little bit. It's a little heavy, okay? We'll talk about that a little bit if you want. How's she doing?
She's doing pretty good.
All right, good job. Oh yeah, training's gonna be easy for her too. All right, when you guys are ready, let's go and sit back down. How'd she do? I imagine super easy. Likes to eat. Okay, so what do you guys notice about your dogs now? They're like, hey, you're a cash machine of treats. Why would I ever want to leave your side, right? And that's kind of what we want. Now your dog's brains are more engaged with you than everybody else around them, okay? So let's kind of talk about free a little bit. I know a couple of you guys had a little bit of like, I quite don't understand that. So a good way to explain this is if you walk in the house and your dog's on leash and you take your leash off your dog, you're basically telling the dog it's okay to go do whatever it wants, right? In some ways, it's kind of like this. Raise your hand if you have children at home. Nobody has children. Okay. Well, if you've ever had children, or if you ever plan to have children, if you put your child in timeout, if you tell your child, hey, go sit in timeout, the moment you tell your child, okay, it's okay to get up, Does the child run to you and say, okay, I'm waiting for you to tell me something to do? Or does the child go run outside and play? That's basically what the free command is representing. It's basically telling the dog that, okay, we're done with that session. We're done with that little game we're playing or the sit or down, and now it's okay. I kind of told this young lady over here, when you go to reload, release your dog. So maybe kind of make a mental note of that. Reload, release. So a lot of times when we're working with our dogs, we run out of food in our hand, we go and we reload on food, dog kind of automatically checks out. The reason being is we're not really engaged in the dog. I've seen this many times. People will be working with their dog and they'll get a phone call. They'll answer the phone and the dog will kind of just wander off and do their own thing, get in trouble. Why? Because the dogs realize that, hey, we're not engaged anymore. Obviously, I can kind of go do my own thing. So after the free command, it really doesn't matter what your dog does. And basically, we're letting your dog go back to being a dog again. Or if the dog chooses to say, hey, I'm ready to do more, that's perfectly fine. But you at least want to release your dog so that we're giving the dog permission to disengage with us. Because when we ask the dog to do something, I want my dog to follow through and keep doing it until I tell him it's okay not to do that.
So is that like a break, if I said break?
You got it. Break is the same thing. It's just a different verbiage. So if you're using break and I use free, it means basically the same thing.
So if I'm walking with the dog and doing the whole routine, quick, quick, slow, slow, and then I want to stop the whole routine, I just say break.
Yeah, break.
Or free.
Or free, yep. Break and just kind of reload or answer your phone, or maybe you know, you're completely done doing whatever you're doing. Okay? Okay, any questions on engagement? Most of your dogs are really good. I was quite impressed. This young lady's dog was a little bit kind of worried. I guarantee at home your dogs are going to do way better. Remember, this is a kind of a hectic environment. This is kind of a scary, we don't realize what effects it has on a dog. Take him into an environment that they've never been in environment. And now we're asking him to learn, okay? So, we talked about free, we talked about engagement. The next thing we're going to work on is teaching our dog to down. Sit is pretty simple. We'll say that kind of towards the end, but we're going to teach your dog how to down. Has anybody tried to work on down with their dog so far? Okay, a couple people. Have you done the down without sitting first? Okay, so a lot of people say, well, my dog can down, but he's got to put his butt down first. Either that or they say, well, why can't I get my dog to sit and then down? So to me, sit and down are two different muscle memories. It's much like you asking your spouse to go start the car. Instead, they make you a pizza. Does starting the car and make you a pizza have anything to do with each other? Okay, neither does sit and down. They're two different muscle memories. So we don't want to confuse the dog. If we do sit and then down, and we do it more than 10, 15 times, pretty soon we ask our dog to sit. What's the dog going to naturally do? They're going to offer the down, right? Because they're going to reason. They're going to say, wait a minute, I want that high value. I want the high value food. So the quickest way to do it is to do what I think is going to come, and that's to offer the down. Okay? So we want to teach your dog to go directly into a down without sitting first. Okay? Would you like to be a guinea pig for me? Okay. So there's two ways to teach it. I'm going to first teach you with this young lady, if you're able to get down on the dog's level, and then I'll teach you with if you're not able to get down on the dog's level. So do you mind being a leash holder, please, for me? Okay, come out here, young lady, please. I'm horrible with names, so there's a reason why I'm calling her young lady, because I don't want to disrespect her and call her by the wrong name. But most of the time I call you mom and dad. So if I call you mom, you know what I'm referring to your dog's mom, you're not my mom. Okay, I'm going to have her come sit out here a little bit, please. Can you sit all the way on the ground for me on your bum? Put your legs straight out. Okay, put your knees together, there you go. I want you to bring your knees up and arch them a little bit. There you go. You're gonna put food in your right hand. You didn't know you were gonna do calisthenics tonight, did you? Okay, I want you to put your right hand completely underneath your leg. Okay, show your dog the food. Hey, look, I'm that good.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, what happens to the dog?
Down.
The dog down, right? He did it too easy. But hey, I'll take it, okay? And then she feeds. Now she's going to release the dog. So what she's going to do is she's going to take a piece of food and toss it a little bit to the right and say, free. Good job. Okay, now she's going to put food in her left, because now the dog's on the left. Put her hand underneath her leg. Okay, and stop. Have you done this before?
No.
I'm that good. Okay, feed, and then she's gonna toss a piece of food and say free. Good job. So I'm gonna encourage you not to use okay, but if you want to use it, it's perfectly fine. Imagine this. Imagine you're at a park, you put your dog in a down, and you went to get your phone, and you told somebody, okay, and your dog runs off. So you just used okay? Good. All right, thank you. So now I'm going to teach you. Can you grab a bar for me, please? Let's say you have difficulty, you're old like me, not young like her, and you can't get down to the dog's level. May I use you? I can't use you. Okay.
You can use him.
Would you like to do it, young man?
Sure.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't going to make you go underneath the bar.
This is in limbo.
Okay. Do you have some food? Aha. Always have food. So what this young man's going to do is he is going to step over the bar, and the dog's going to be on that side. He's going to take his food. He's going to put his hand underneath the bar, and he's going to see if he can get his dog to go underneath the bar. Just keep bringing it this way. Keep bringing it this way. Oh, good job. And feed him for that. Okay, it looks like everybody's pretty flexible. Nicely done. So make sure you stop your hand the moment the dog drops his body. So don't keep moving your hands until you say free. Once you say free, then you can toss it. But you don't. If you keep moving it, you'll teach your dog to crawl really well. Okay. All right, you got your leash? There you go. All right. Nicely done. Good job. That worked a little better. Good job. That worked. You guys didn't know you're going to be doing aerobics tonight, did you? Okay, but you keep yanking your hand away, right? Okay, so you gotta control your hand. Okay, bring your hand closer to him, closer. There you go, right there. Don't move your hand. There. Now say free and toss a piece of food that way. Free. There you go. Okay, let's go that way, Tim. Okay, slowly keep it lower. Keep the food lower. Oh, good. Feed him for that. Feed him. He down, right? That's our goal, right? The goal isn't. Yeah, the goal isn't to go underneath the leg. Goal is to down. Good job. How's she doing? Good. Good job. Nicely done. Yes, thank you. I will in a moment. Christina, she can lay a little trail if that helps too. Nicely done. Good job. Does she like this game?
I think so. Seems like it.
Nice.
Oh, sorry.
Nicely done. Oh, okay. There you go. So I'd probably keep your hand a little bit closer to your leg this time.
Oh, okay.
It kind of, she kept kind of moving forward. I want to go underneath and drop, just like that. Just drop. There you go, like that. So it does help if you have like 4 or 5 pieces of food in your hand at once.
Okay.
Stop. Good feed. Now toss one, say free.
Free.
Nice. Okay, let's go ahead and sit back down when you guys are ready. Do you need some help getting up? Okay.
But with tossing the food, she can learn to figure it out. Just like the dogs that don't know where it is.
Okay, so you guys did really well. You guys see the mechanics behind it, right? So a lot of people say, well, why don't I just push my dog down? Why do I have to make him go underneath the leg? Well, if you notice, we gave the dog a choice. The dog made the choice to go under the leg, and then the dog dropped its body naturally. If you force your dog to do anything, we get opposite reflex. The dog actually does not want to do it. It's much like if you're, the best way I can explain this is, I'm not married, so I don't want to speak from experience, but when you met your spouse, did you walk up to him and say, love me, dang it? And if you did, most likely they call the police, right? But, so what do? You know, we buy them flowers, we kind of ease them into it, and pretty soon they kind of fall for us, and then they stick with it. So, we don't want to ever force the dog into anything. So if you find that you're trying to force your dog into training, then you're probably doing it too quick, or you're rushing it too much, and you probably need kind of to take a step back, okay? All right, we'll talk about why we don't put a command to the action quite yet, but let's work on sit a little bit. I'm gonna use my friend Christina here. Christina, can you grab Sally out of the bathroom, please?
Jolene.
Jolene, so I do have a dog here. It's the best well-trained dog ever. You can actually buy dogs off of Amazon now. I don't know if you guys realize that or not. So this is Jolene. She's gonna help Christina. So she's gonna help Christina here. Sit, good job. So when you teach sit, there's a couple things you want to do. Of course, we start everything with engagement. So we're gonna act like Jolene's really engaged, the dog's ready to learn. Because Christina's gonna do is she's gonna have some food in her hand. Okay? She's gonna take a little step back away from Jolene. Her hand's gonna be a little away from her body. Okay, take a little step back. Okay, just a little bit, okay? So Jolene's gonna be away from her. She can keep her food, or she can push her food into the dog's nose and keep the dog right there. Put your other foot back. Okay? Now what she's gonna do is she's gonna take her hands and she's gonna slide them close to her body, into her body, and then up. Okay, she's gonna try that again. So she's gonna put the food right in front of the dog's nose. She's gonna bring the food all the way to her legs, and then up her body. Here's the reason why you wanna do that. A lot of people do this. They'll stand in front of the dog, dog's there, think the dog is standing, imagine the dog standing, they'll go back over the dog's head. Okay? What happens if she does that? Okay, they do jump up, that is one problem. But actually what the dog does is it rocks back into a sit and ends up sitting 3 or 4 feet back from us. Me personally, when I ask my dog to sit, I want the butt to go right down. I don't want to teach the dog to rock back and be 10 feet away from me. However, these are your dogs. So if you're happy with how your dog is currently sitting, I'm happy with it. My job is to show you the best I can.
So when I'm doing this, the dog's actually in stand.
Yes, the dog's in a stand. Sorry, this dog can't stand. But when she's bringing the dog in, the dog's actually in a stand, and then she guides it into a sit. Does that make sense?
Little dog. How do you guide it into the sit?
Let's do this. Can she borrow your dog for a minute? Do you mind doing it with the dog? Okay. I think he'll work for you. If not, I know this one will. Christina's going to show you with this dog. I think it should work for her. Oh, good job. Watch out, watch out, watch out. Okay. Oh, maybe not. And now she's going to bring the food close to her body, and then she's going to bring it up and sit. Good job. So the dog naturally offered it. However, this dog is a little unsure about Christina, which is fine. She doesn't know Christina. So before you bring your hands up, you want to make sure your dog is kind of close to your body. Does that make sense? She's trying, but she's not going to offer it. But you see the mechanics, right? Okay, let's do that. So let's stand up, do a little engaging if your dog needs it. If not, then go right into a little bit of sit. We'll come around and help you. Good job. Is she eating better? Is he eating better? No? Okay. Did you feed him this morning?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe next,
He's not hungry.
yeah, maybe next week don't feed him. Maybe even not breakfast. Maybe just a little bit of breakfast and then nothing the rest of the day. The more times you're here, the better it will. This is the very first time. It's a lot. Good job. See you tomorrow. Good job. So, if you're okay with the dog sitting there, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
But if you want the dog to sit closer, I'd probably get rid of the fanny pack. That's coming about a foot away from your, and she's naturally got to get away from you in order to look at your face, okay? Try to hold the food really close to your body before you bring it up. So watch, put it right in front of her nose. Bring it really close to your body right now. Close, close, close. Now up, now slowly up. Good, but not that quick and not that far up, okay? Keep trying, good job. Yes, good job. That was really nice. Good job. Does she rock back? Here. Open your legs a little bit. There you go. Put it. Okay, bring it down lower. Okay, right, and bring it almost between your legs a little bit more. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Close to your body, and then up. Oh, better. Good job. Good. It's going to take some work because he's been fed for so many sitting backs that now it's like this is all foreign to him. So it'll take some work. Okay. Can you get rid of Jolie for me, please?
Get rid of her?
Yes. Well. So I think most of you guys have done really good, had success. A couple dogs having a little bit of difficulty. A couple dogs have had some difficulty just because they've been taught to rock back and to sit already a little ways away from mom and dad. Remember, this is your guys' dog. If you're happy with how they sit, I'm perfectly happy. One thing I would encourage you guys to do if you want to try to get the dogs closer is do this from a seating position. Christina, come here, please. Sorry. Watch what Christina was doing with, here, act like the dog's in front of you. Okay, bend over like it's a little dog. So if Christina has a little dog and the dog is here, it's gonna naturally move back because now her head is over her feet, right? Like this. Now the dog's gonna back up in order to look at her face. If she's sitting down, can you sit down please? If she's sitting down and her legs are straight out, okay? Now she can bring the dog up into her closer and now her body is not hovering over the top of the dog. Does that make sense? But then again, these are your dogs. So, I probably confused you now, right? Because I haven't told you to tell your dog to sit her down. You guys noticed that? Been a little confusing. Can anybody tell me why?
He did it without feeding.
Do what?
He did it without feeding it as an action.
Okay, that's fine, but okay, almost. So, let me ask you this. Yes, oh, do you know?
I was just going to suggest that maybe instead of using verbiage that they don't understand, we're speaking in kind of a common ground language.
I like that.
Not quite. I like your thinking, but not quite yet. So, if we do 10 downs with your dog, and out of those 10 downs, 8 times the dog puts its butt up in the air, and we reward the dog, what is the dog learning down is? All the way down or keep my butt up in the air? Okay, so if we tell the dog down every time and the dog does that, pretty soon what muscle memory does the dog learn? The incorrect muscle memory, right? So we always teach the behavior, we teach the muscle memory before we put a command to it. So make sure that your dog can do the behavior at least 10, 15, 20 times when you're luring before you put a verbiage to your command. So if it takes you like 2 or 3 days to get your dog to finally down, don't be saying down those 2 or 3 days. Just lure the dog, feed the dog when he does it right, reward the dog. Then when the dog starts getting it correct and the dog is consistent at doing it, then start putting a command to it. Okay? That'll really, really, really help you. A lot of people say, well, man, I watch these people on TV. They always tell the dog to do it, and they do well, okay? But the dog doesn't know what down is. So if I tell my dog to down, 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 and he doesn't know what I'm saying, then it gets really confusing. So we teach the muscle memory before we put verbiage to it. Okay? All right, so let's go over what we covered tonight. We covered a lot. Okay? We covered engagement. Okay, what is engagement? It's a mind frame. It's getting the good dog excited about training, right? And then we talked about release. What is the free command, or what does the release mean to the dog? Break. You got it. End of behavior. Okay? And then we worked on down, teaching your dog to go in a down without sitting first. Okay? And then we basically worked on sit, trying to get the dog to sit a little bit quicker and a little bit closer to us. Okay? Any questions before you guys go? Yes.
First time they do it, party.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I love these ladies. You always remind me of things I forget. So in dog training, we have this concept about throwing the dog a party. So let's say, I mean, most of your guys' dogs did really good. But let's say my friend's dogs over here, they went underneath, what's your name again? Your name. Tim. Let's say Tim's dog's going underneath Tim's legs, and man, for like 5 or 6 times, the dog kept keeping its butt up. And then all of a sudden, Tim's dog drops its butt down. He wants to really capture that. He wants to really solidify that. So instead of feeding the dog just 1 piece of food, he'll feed the dog 5 or 6 pieces of food. The next time Tim does it, what does the dog remember? Wait a minute, I like going underneath your leg for the 1 piece of food, but when my butt did this, hey, I got a big reward, right? So it's called throwing the dog a party. So the first time, or the first couple times that your dog really gets what you're trying to teach him, throw him a party. And when you throw him a party, it isn't just handing the dog a handful of food. It's feeding the dog, pause, feed, pause, feed, pause, feed, pause. So it's give the dog a treat, 1,000, give the dog a treat, 1,000, give the dog a treat. In the dog's head, it's going to be like you guys winning the lottery. If all you had to do is answer the phone, you would win the lottery. Would you ever leave the phone ever again? I sure wouldn't. Okay? Thank you for reminding me. Okay, any questions before I let you guys go? Yes.
This collar, we only put it on him when he's leaving the house.
Yeah, so if you're going to use a prong collar, I mean, I always encourage people never leave a collar on the dog unless you're with them anyways, but especially the prong collars, unless you're working with the dog, you know, don't have it on them.
Okay, then now that it's smaller, she said something about a quick release one where we have, because how am I supposed to give it off?
Yeah, so before you guys leave, they'll show you these collars, okay? Okay? Any other, yes?
What do you think of the clickers?
Clickers are great. So clickers are basically, remember that 2.3 seconds I talked about? Okay, clickers actually help us be as humans because a lot of times we are really slow. So if you're gonna use a clicker, you just need to load the clicker. Sometimes it takes, do you know about that? Do you know about, okay. It's something that we probably need to talk about afterwards and maybe do a little research on. So clickers are a great way. They're not a magical cure. Using a clicker isn't going to make your dog learn any quicker, but it does help you mark the behavior quicker. So if you find that you're having difficulty cueing the dog when the dog does it quick enough, then yes, I'd really encourage you to use a clicker. But you can also condition your dog to a yes. So if my dog offers a correct behavior, I'll mark him with a yes, and then I'll pay him. But my yes is the same thing as a clicker. I loaded my yes the same way. But clickers are great tools.
And that way you don't have to search for them and find
You don't, exactly. Okay, you guys did really good. Yes, I apologize.
One question.
Of course.
When we do the leg exercise underneath the legs,
Yes.
when do we know when to transition to try to get under the legs without underneath the legs, right? Just like
That's a really good question. So every week we go over what we did last week. So next week when you guys come, I can watch how your dog's doing and give you a affirmative answer on that. But usually, if the moment the dog starts going to the leg, drops down, it's a good time to start transitioning away from the legs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But if your dog goes underneath the legs and still kind of keeps its butt up for a little bit, it's probably not time. You want to make sure the dog does it within like almost immediately from going underneath your legs, and then you can kind of transition away from it.
Would Would you do like a hand motion when you're standing up to try to get her to?
Actually, what you would do is, can she borrow your dog for a minute?
Sure.
The easiest way is to show you. Let's see if your dog will do it. This is why these ladies come, so they can play with puppies.
Yeah.
Can you hand her some food, please? I promise she won't eat it. She's a vegetarian. So once you get where the dog is just dropping down right away, here's how you do it. She's going to go from a dog's nose between the dog's feet just like that. And it almost actually kind of did it. You see it kind of buckled underneath?
Okay.
But that's how you would do it.
Okay.
So it'd go from the nose. Oh, so close. It's so close.
Get it, girl.
But
Get it, girl.
she'll do it. I almost guarantee you she'll do it in a week.
Okay.
Yep. Here, you want to try real quick? Now that you saw the hand motion, let's see you try real quick. Here, let's see if Mom can try it. Yeah, if you guys are able to do that, like after she does this, if you guys are able to do this at home, then forget the legs altogether. Oh, good job. So you don't need the legs. You just need push. Okay, nope. So when you do this, push in. You want to go underneath the dog.
Underneath the dog.
Yeah,
Oh.
because if you go away from the dog's no underneath there. Okay. Anything else? Can I answer anything else before you guys go? Okay, you guys did really good. If you need me, stay in your seat. If not, then I'll see you guys next week. Okay, I'll be right there. Can you turn the camera off, please? Just tap the little red button, please. In the crate for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Then you bring her out on leash, walk her around on leash. It's really, really important to have food ready. You walk her around. Wait, if she goes, then she gets to come inside, have a little freedom for maybe an hour, and then she goes back in the crate for an hour, 2, 3 hours, then you're back on leash. Have you tried all this? Have you been this consistent?
No, not that consistent.
Yeah, you need to be that consistent. I think you've probably given her too many options where she went outside, she slept in the crate, she went outside, she didn't go, you gave her freedom instead of putting her back in the crate, and then she just said, okay, well, after I come inside, I can just relieve myself. No, if she doesn't go outside and go, she needs to go back in the crate. And it's not for a long period of time, maybe for 30 minutes, and then you take her out on leash, give her another opportunity. On leash, walk her around. The moment she goes, she gets to come back inside, has some freedom for a little bit, and then after the freedom, she goes back in the crate for an hour or two, and then out on leash. And then you start limiting how much you put her in there in the day, and you just kind of expand on that. So then she's going to realize, if I don't go out and go outside, I go back in the crate. And make sure it's a small crate, not the large crate, because if it's a large crate, she'll find an area in the crate to go.
Yeah, no, this one's a small, the other one is the big one.
Yeah, I would use the small one. Okay? Let me know how it goes this week.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Did you need me? Sure.
She's really, I mean, she's about 18 months old.
Okay.
17 months old, I guess. But we've only had her 8 weeks. So she spent all her life with the breeder, but in a kennel situation, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And so she's just awful with anybody coming to the door or coming in.
What does she do?
She gets aggressive. She has
Often goes for their feet.
yeah.
She bites at them the moment they come in the door? Oh, gotcha, okay. Start by doing this. So put some food outside the door, and everybody that walks inside, have them grab a handful of food and start dropping food. Every time you walk in the door, drop a handful of food. Probably what's happening is she's stressed by somebody coming inside, and that stress is exerted however she expresses herself.
She gets very territorial.
Territory, okay.
Yeah, I think
So,
we gave her too much free reign when we first got her.
gotcha, okay.
And thought,
Yeah, probably not. It's probably.
Because she wasn't used to it, and now she's just really territorial.
It may have made it worse if you didn't give her that free reign. But every time you walk in the door, drop a handful of food. Walk in the door, drop a handful of food. What's going to happen is, instead of her focusing on the stress of somebody coming in the door, now it's a high value. If every time I walked in the door, you handed me $500, I wouldn't be worried about shaking your hand. I'd be like, hey, where's that $500? And that's basically the same thing you're doing, okay? Try it for a week and then let me know how it goes. All right, see you guys next week. I have a private I forgot about. Okay, I think they're outside. Oh, wait, hold on. No, but let that go. There you go. Give her really loose. Like hold on to the very end of the leash. Let her kind of feel it. Okay, now walk, please.
Are we going to go first with you?
Okay, yeah, wait till the.
But what did they do when she, like, during the class, how she was the most rambunctious? Is there anything I can do besides
No.
hold her and feed her?
Yeah, probably the collar's gonna make a difference. It's not gonna change her genetics.
Her barking and stuff?
Yeah,
I've been
that's-
giving her food, like, all the time.
But make sure you give her food with the right timing. In other words, if she barks, don't then reward her.
Yeah.
Wait till she doesn't bark and then try to reward her.
Okay, I
Age and maturity is gonna make a big difference. Okay, yeah, let's walk around a little bit. There's gonna be some dogs coming in a minute. Do you feel already? She pulls on it and says, "Oh, that's not fun."
as strong as she was before.
Can you kill the heat, please? They're fine. Nope. And that one's way too big. If it's sized correctly, it'd work a little bit better.
Christina says they're on Amazon and then Springer, I think, has them.
Yeah, I would just, they can buy them off Amazon pretty cheap. She can buy them off Amazon cheaper.
It's the same collar, it's a Springer collar. Springer?
And
Yep.
it comes with the,
S-P-R-E-N-G-E-R.
Thank you, ladies, for your help.
See
that's
ya.
See you tomorrow.
what you don't wanna do. Never pull it over
If
the
there's
neck.
some dogs out there, we can tell them to come in, please.
Yeah, that's what's nice about these is this. And then it'll, when you get it, because you're gonna want it to fit up around her neck. So she'd want a small, that dog's never gonna get very big.
Well, yeah, that's a small there,
Yeah,
just
this
added.
is a small. And then just get a baggie to put all your links in so that
The big dog is
you
still
can
out.
find them.
Thank you.
Do what?
The big dog is still out.
Oh, is he? Okay. Where's Tyler?
He's in the van.
Oh. Is he warm? Is he okay?
I told him to come in if he gets too cold.
Oh, okay.
See you tomorrow, Diana.
Yeah, I'm gonna take off your shirt.
Just hand it back, please.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. See you next Monday.
Bye, bye. Are you recording again?
No. Oh. You are.